Chapter 1. The Power of Words. Hi, I'm Finn, and today I'm going to talk about how to memorize words easily and effectively. Learning new words is one of the most important parts of learning English. Words are like the building blocks of any language. The more words you know, the easier it becomes to understand others and express yourself. But sometimes, memorizing words can feel difficult. Have you ever tried to learn a new word but forgot it the next day? Don't worry, you're not alone. Many beginners find this challenging, but there are ways to make it easier and more fun. Why does learning new words feel difficult sometimes? One reason is that our brains are naturally
Better at remembering things that catch our attention or make us feel something. If a word doesn't seem interesting or useful to us, we might forget it quickly. But here's the good news. By making words meaningful and fun to learn, you can start to remember them better. For example, when you hear the word apple, you probably think of a shiny red fruit. You might even imagine taking a bite and feeling its crisp, juicy taste. That image makes it easier to remember the word. Now think about a new word you've learned recently. Maybe it was a little tricky. Did you try to connect it to something familiar or interesting? When you feel connected to a word, you're more likely to remember it. This is why emotions and interest play a big role in building your vocabulary. The power of interest in learning. When you're interested in a word or find it useful, your brain works harder to hold on to it. For example, if you love cooking, you might find it easier to remember words like recipe, spices, or ingredients. You can use this technique for any words you want to learn. Ask yourself, how can I make this word interesting to me? You could try imagining a story with the word, linking it to something you love, or even thinking about how you'll use it in a conversation. Remember, building your vocabulary is like planting seeds. The more attention and care you give to each new word, the stronger and clearer it will grow in your mind. Here's a great quote from Dr. Seuss. The more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go. This quote reminds us that learning new words isn't just about memorizing, it's about opening new doors. Every new word you learn takes you to a new place, helping you understand more and express yourself better. So, what's the best way to get started? Begin with words that feel important to you. Start small and make learning a part of your daily routine. Practice reading, listening, and speaking with new words as often as you can. To make it even easier, I've uploaded videos on my website to help you practice and improve your vocabulary. These videos are designed to help you learn new words in a fun and simple way. Before we move on, I'd love to hear from you. What's the most recent English word you've learned? Drop it in the comments, and let's talk about how you can remember it better. Chapter 2. Word Visualization, the Power of Imagination. When it comes to memorizing words, one of the most powerful tools we have is our imagination. Our brains are wired to remember pictures and images much more easily than just words or letters. This is why the visualization technique can be so effective in learning new vocabulary. By imagining what a word means and connecting it to a mental picture, you can make the word much easier to remember. What is word visualization? Visualization means creating a picture in your mind to represent a word. When you think of a word as a picture, it becomes more than just letters on a page. For example, if I say the word apple, what comes to your mind? You probably imagine a shiny red fruit. Maybe you even picture taking a bite and feeling its crunch. This image makes the word stick because it's tied to a real object or experience. How can you use visualization to remember new words? Let's say you're learning the word mountain. Instead of just repeating the word, try to close your eyes and imagine a tall, snow-covered peak. Picture yourself standing at the bottom, looking up at the huge mountain in front of you. You might see clouds touching the top or hear the wind blowing through the trees. By connecting the word mountain to a strong mental image, you're more likely to remember it the next time you hear or see it. Visualization doesn't have to be complicated. Even a simple picture in your mind can help. If you're learning the word happy, you might imagine a smiling face or a moment when you felt really joyful. The more vivid and personal the image is, the better it will work. Connecting new words to mental images. The trick is to create a mental image that stands out. The more unique or emotional the picture is, the easier it will be to remember the word. For example, if you're learning the word ocean, you can picture not just any body of water, but a giant wave crashing on the shore. Maybe you imagine yourself swimming in the cool water or standing on the beach, listening to the sound of the waves. These details make the image clearer, and that helps the word stay with you. Why does this work? Our brains are very good at remembering pictures and emotions. When we link a word to an image, it becomes more meaningful, and our memory holds on to it better. Visualization taps into the creative part of our mind, making learning feel less like a task and more like an experience. A famous Chinese proverb says, "To learn a language is to have one more window from which to look at the world." This quote reminds us that learning new words gives us new ways to see and understand the world around us. By using visualization, we're not just memorizing a word, we're opening a window to new ideas and images that make learning fun and memorable. How can you start using visualization today? Next time you learn a new word, stop and take a moment to create a mental picture for it. You can even write the word down and draw a simple picture next to it if that helps. The more you practice, the easier it will become to link words to images automatically. I encourage you to try this technique and let your imagination run free. It's a fun and creative way to make sure new words stick. And don't just take my word for it. Give it a try and see how it works for you. I'd love to hear from you. How do you picture words in your mind? Do you imagine scenes, objects, or something else? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. The way we visualize words can be different for everyone, so let's learn from each other. Chapter 3. Word. Connections, linking old and new. One of the best ways to remember new words is to connect them to words you already know. Our brains love patterns and connections. If you can link a new word to something familiar, it becomes easier to understand and remember. This technique is called word association, and it's a powerful tool for learning English vocabulary. How does word association work? Think about it like building a bridge. On one side, you have a new word that you're trying to learn. On the other side, you have words that you already know. By creating a connection between the two, you can build a mental bridge, making it easier to cross over from the familiar to the unfamiliar. For example, let's say you already know the word beauty. Now, you're learning the word beautiful. These words are connected because they come from the same root, and they belong to the same word, family. A word family is a group of words that share a common base or root word. In this case, the root is beauty, and the other words in the family include beautiful, adjective, and beautify, verb. Once you know one word in the family, learning the others becomes much easier because they are all related. Why are word families important? Learning words in families can save you time and effort. Instead of memorizing each word separately, you can learn several related words at once. This not only helps you build a richer vocabulary, but also deepens your understanding of how words work together in the language. Another example is the word family of act. You might already know the word act, verb, but did you know that action, active, and activity all come from the same root? By recognizing the patterns between these words, you can more easily remember them and use them in sentences. Connecting new words to known words is like adding new branches to a tree. Your knowledge grows in all directions, making your vocabulary stronger and more connected. Whenever you learn a new word, ask yourself, does this word remind me of another word I already know? If it does, you've just built a helpful association. Practical ways to use word connections. You can make word connections in many ways. One method is to think of the synonyms, words that mean the same thing, or antonyms, words that mean the opposite. For example, if you learn the word happy, you might connect it to the word joyful, a synonym, or sad, an antonym. By linking words in this way, you create a mental network where new words are always related to words you're already familiar with. Another way to make connections is by looking for prefixes and suffixes in words. A prefix is a small part added to the beginning of a word, while a suffix is added to the end. For instance, the prefix un means not, so if you know the word happy, you can easily understand the word unhappy by adding the prefix. This technique works with many English words and helps you figure out the meaning of new words on your own. Word connections in practice. To help you practice making these connections, I've added some special videos on my website. These videos guide you through different word families, prefixes, and suffixes, showing you how to connect new words to ones you already know. The more you practice, the faster you'll start recognizing these connections on your own. Making learning fun through connections. Not only is this technique effective, but it can also make learning more enjoyable. It's like solving a puzzle where each new word fits into the bigger picture of your vocabulary. Plus, you'll feel a sense of accomplishment as you start to see how much easier it is to remember words when they're linked to familiar ones. Before we move on, I'd love to hear from you. What's your favorite word family? Maybe you love words related to travel, food, or hobbies. Share your favorite word family in the comments below. Let's see how many word families we can explore together. By linking old and new words, you'll find that learning vocabulary becomes smoother and faster. Just like with the other techniques we've discussed, it's all about finding what works best for you. Keep practicing, keep connecting, and watch your English vocabulary grow. Chapter 4. Using Words in Real Life. Practice makes permanent. You've probably heard the saying, practice makes perfect. But when it comes to learning new English words, it's better to say, practice makes permanent. The more you use new words in real-life situations, the more naturally they become a part of your everyday vocabulary. Memorizing words is just the beginning. What really helps you remember them is using them in sentences, conversations, and daily activities. In this chapter, we'll explore how you can practice new words and make them stick for the long term. Why is using new words so important? Think of it this way. If you learn a new word but never use it, it's like planting a seed but never watering it. The word will dry up in your memory and eventually disappear. However, when you use the word in a sentence, conversation, or writing, it's like giving that seed water and sunlight. It grows stronger in your mind. Using new words in real-life situations helps your brain connect the word to a context, making it easier to recall the next time you need it. This is why it's crucial to practice as often as possible. Even if you're just practicing with yourself by speaking out loud or writing sentences, every bit of practice helps. Practical ways to use new words. One of the easiest ways to practice new words is to read books or listen to English content where the words appear. When you read or hear a word in context, you get a clearer understanding of how it's used. This also helps you see different forms of the word and how it fits into a sentence. For example, you might read a sentence like, "She was high delighted right now with the surprise gift." And now you can try to use the word delighted in your own sentence. I am delighted, Taos, to learn new words every day. Another way to use new words is to speak them out loud. Whether you're practicing with a friend, a language partner, or just talking to yourself, the key is to speak as much as possible. You don't have to wait for a formal conversation. You can use new words when you're describing your day, talking about a book you're reading, or even when you're thinking aloud about your plans. Methods for daily practice. Here are a few simple but effective ways to use new words every day. 1. Journaling. Start a journal where you write about your day, thoughts, or plans using new words you've learned. It doesn't have to be long. Just a few sentences each day can make a big difference. For example, if you've learned the word challenge, you could write, "Today, I faced a challenge at work, but I solved it by thinking carefully." 2. Daily word challenges. Set a challenge for yourself to use a certain number of new words each day. You can start small with just 2 or 3 words and gradually increase the number as you get more confident. You could say to yourself, "Today, I'm going to use the words enthusiastic, creative, and improve in my conversations or writing." 3. Conversations with yourself. If you don't have someone to practice with, try talking to yourself. Describe what you're doing or thinking using new vocabulary. For example, if you're cooking dinner, you could say, "I am preparing a delicious meal. I feel satisfied with how it's turning out." This may feel a bit funny at first, but it's a great way to get comfortable using new words. The power of listening and speaking. Listening to English content, such as podcasts, audiobooks, or even YouTube videos, helps reinforce the words you're learning. When you hear how native speakers use words in natural conversation, it sticks with you. It also gives you examples of pronunciation and grammar, which will help you use words correctly when you speak. Mark Twain once said, "The secret of getting ahead is getting started." This quote is a great reminder that the first step is often the hardest. But once you begin practicing new words in real-life situations, it gets easier and more rewarding. Each time you use a new word, you're one step closer to mastering it. To help you with this, I've uploaded some videos on my website that focus on practical word usage. These videos show you how to use new words in sentences, conversations, and daily situations. You can follow along and practice with me to make your vocabulary stronger. Get started today. I challenge you to pick a few new words you've learned recently and use them in your next conversation or writing exercise. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's part of the learning process. The more you use your new words, the more natural they'll become. I'd love to hear how you're using your new words in real life. What methods do you use to practice? Share your tips and experiences in the comments below, and let's keep learning together. Chapter 5. Repetition with a twist. Keeping words fresh. When it comes to learning new words, repetition is essential. But let's face it, repeating the same words over and over can get boring. The good news is that there are fun and effective ways to keep repetition fresh, so you don't lose interest. In this chapter, we'll explore how spaced repetition helps you remember words long-term, and we'll discuss creative ways to practice without feeling like it's a chore. How does spaced repetition work? As we've mentioned before, repetition is crucial to memorizing new vocabulary. However, it's not just about repeating a word many times in one day. Spaced repetition is a method where you review a word at increasing intervals of time, starting from the day you learn it, then a few days later, then a week later, and so on. The idea is to review the word just before you're about to forget it, which strengthens your long-term memory. By using spaced repetition, you're not overwhelming yourself with constant repetition all at once. Instead, You're giving your brain the perfect amount of time to process and remember the word, so it sticks for the long term. Many spaced repetition apps, such as Anki or Memrise, use this method to help learners memorize vocabulary efficiently. Different ways to repeat without getting bored. Even though spaced repetition is powerful, it's important to keep things interesting so that you stay motivated. Let's look at a few fun ways to repeat words and make them part of your daily routine. 1. Flashcards with a twist. Flashcards are a classic tool for vocabulary practice, but you can make them more engaging by adding pictures, colors, or even funny sentences. For example, if you're learning the word excited, you could draw a picture of someone jumping up and down or write a sentence like, "I am excited to go to the theme park." Adding creativity makes the words more memorable. 2. Repetition apps. There are many apps available that use spaced repetition techniques to help you remember words. Some apps, like Quizlet By, allow you to turn your vocabulary practice into a game with matching exercises, multiple choice questions, or typing challenges. These interactive methods keep things fun while reinforcing the words. 3. Word games. If you're a fan of games, why not use them to practice vocabulary? Games like Scrabble or Word Search are great for testing your knowledge of words. You can also play online vocabulary games or even create your own. For example, challenge yourself to use 5 new words in a conversation with a friend or in a journal entry. The Feynman technique. This technique is named after the famous physicist Richard Feynman, who believed that the best way to truly understand something is to explain it simply. Here's how it works. Choose a word you've learned and try to explain it to someone as if they've never heard of it before. Use simple language and examples to make the meaning clear. For instance, if you're explaining the word generous, you might say, "Being generous means giving more than you need to, like sharing your food with someone who doesn't have any." By teaching the word, you're reinforcing your own understanding of it. Making repetition a habit. The key to success with repetition is consistency. Find ways to fit vocabulary practice into your daily life. You can review words while you're commuting, waiting in line, or even brushing your teeth. The more often you repeat words in small moments, the easier it becomes to remember them long term. On my website, I've added interactive activities designed to help with spaced repetition. These activities guide you through regular reviews of words at just the right intervals, so they stay fresh in your mind. You'll also find games and challenges to keep you engaged and motivated as you learn. Let's hear from you. How do you keep repetition fun and fresh? Do you use apps, games, or other creative methods to practice your vocabulary? I'd love to know your techniques. Share your thoughts in the comments. And let's learn from each other's experiences. By finding ways to enjoy repetition, we can make sure our new words stick around for the long term. Whether it's flashcards, apps, games, or the Feynman technique, repetition doesn't have to be dull. With a little creativity and the power of spaced repetition, you can make learning English words a fun and lasting experience. Keep practicing, and you'll be amazed at how quickly your vocabulary grows. Chapter 6. Keep it fun. Learning words through stories and games. Learning new words doesn't have to feel like hard work. In fact, one of the best ways to build your vocabulary is by making it fun. When you enjoy the learning process, it becomes easier to stick with it, and the words you learn are more likely to stay with you. In this final chapter, we'll explore how to turn learning into a fun habit through stories, games, and quizzes. By adding a little creativity and play into your study routine, you can make memorizing new words something you look forward to every day. Why are stories and games so effective? Our brains are naturally wired to remember things that we find interesting or enjoyable. When we're reading a story, for example, we're not just memorizing words, we're also connecting them to characters, emotions, and events. This makes the words more meaningful and easier to recall. Games, on the other hand, add a sense of challenge and excitement that keeps you engaged. By turning vocabulary practice into a game, you can stay motivated and have fun while learning. Reading stories to learn new words. One of the best ways to learn and remember new vocabulary is through reading. When you read a story in English, you're exposed to new words in a natural context. You see how they're used in sentences and get a better understanding of their meaning. The more you read, the more words you'll pick up without even realizing it. Start with simple books or short stories that are at your level, and don't be afraid to look up new words. As you read, try to imagine the scenes in your mind and pay attention to how the new words fit into the story. For example, if you read the sentence, "The boy was curious about the strange noise," you now know that curious means wanting to know more about something. Reading the word in a sentence helps you remember it because it's connected to the story. Playing word games to build vocabulary. If you enjoy games, there are many that can help you practice and expand your vocabulary. Some popular options include 1. Crossword puzzles. These classic puzzles challenge you to think of words that fit a set of clues. They're a fun way to test your vocabulary and learn new words along the way. 2. Word searches. In a word search, you look for hidden words in a grid of letters. This is a simple but effective way to reinforce your vocabulary by repeatedly seeing the words. 3. Scrabble or Boggle. These games allow you to create words from random letters. The more words you know, the better you'll do, and they can help you practice forming words quickly. 4. Online quizzes and apps. There are many websites and apps that offer quizzes, word games, and challenges to help you learn English. These are perfect for when you have a few minutes of free time and want to practice in a fun, interactive way. Making learning part of your daily routine. The key to mastering new words is to make learning a habit. Set aside a little time each day to read a story, play a word game, or take a quiz. Even just 10 minutes a day can make a big difference over time. The more consistent you are, the easier it will be to build and retain your vocabulary. As Leonardo da Vinci wisely said, "Learning never exhausts the mind." When you find joy in the learning process, it becomes something you want to do, rather than something you feel you have to do. That's why adding stories, games, and quizzes to your vocabulary practice can make learning more enjoyable and effective. Interactive resources on my website. To help you turn learning into a fun habit, I've added some exciting word learning games and quizzes on my website. These activities are designed to keep you engaged while helping you practice new words. Whether you enjoy word searches, crossword puzzles, or quizzes, you'll find something that suits your style of learning. And don't forget, there are also plenty of stories for you to read and practice new words in context. Closing thoughts and invitation to share. As we wrap up this podcast, I hope you found these techniques helpful for memorizing new words and building your English vocabulary. From using repetition and visualization to reading stories and playing games, there are many fun and effective ways to keep learning and growing. Now it's your turn. What's your favorite word learning technique? Do you enjoy reading stories, playing games, or using apps? Or maybe you have your own unique method for memorizing words. I'd love to hear from you, so feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Remember, learning English is a journey, and every new word you learn brings you one step closer to fluency. Keep practicing, keep having fun, and most importantly, keep learning.